Hey there, everybody. Welcome back. So I decided I'm going to make just one last really quick thing here, like 5 minutes, 7 minutes tops, basically showing how to take care of what I complained about throughout. I kept saying, "Oh well, I'll take care of this. I'll take care of this," and then it occurred to me, well, why don't I just show you how I'm going to take care of it instead of just magically, "Hey, it got fixed. Wasn't that cool?" So here's the thing. So I've got the thing loaded up, and you see here in in Quixel 3Do here, you can see how faceted this is. And realistically, if you look at any tanks, that should be smooth. This wheel, this shouldn't be faceted down here. That should be smooth. Look at this gauge up here. This should be smooth. Now these thumb screws here, okay, maybe those should be like that. That's fine. But this guy right here, this one, okay, I could see that being like that. Maybe a wrench or something is used to screw that in. But this right here, this should be smooth. This should be smooth. This should be smooth. There's this back here. This should be smooth. It shouldn't be this chunky handrails like that. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to show you real quick how to take care of that. It's not that difficult. So there you go. You got that version. Let me go ahead and get out of 3Do or out of Quixel, and I'll bring Maya up back here. And even in Maya, you can see the issue, right? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use, now that I've got it unwrapped, I'm going to use my UV shells because that's just going to make selection so much easier. UV shell. And I'm going to start with that one, right? And once I've got that selected, I'll come up here to Mesh Display. And I have two options. One is Soften, which is going to be the smooth one that I was talking about. And the other is Harden. And basically what's going on here is if I select Soften, Maya is trying to apply even light throughout this whole thing. You kind of think of it that way, smoothing groups. Whereas if I select Harden, I'm telling it, hey, these are distinctly different things. So you can see how that is now much smoother. Now it's only going to get so smooth because it is a cylinder with a finite number of sides, but you can compare it to what we had before. Here's another example. Let me select this area right there. So I will go to my UV shell and I'll select that area right there. Do another mesh display smooth right up, or I'm sorry, soften like so. Let's select something else just to get out of here. There we go. See how smooth that is up there now. See, that looks nice and smooth and rounded. And here I still have this terrible faceting going on. So let's go ahead and let's go to our UV shell again. UV shell. Let's maybe grab that one and do a mesh display and a soften on that one and see what we've got this time. Okay, now you can see how that's looking. It's looking much, much smoother, right? Now notice I do want some definition down here. So let me go ahead and select this. And I will go to my UV shell and I'm going to select, see, I want that one right there to be well defined, but that's part of that whole shell. So let me instead go to, let's say face. I'll select that face and go to mesh display and let's harden that one. And now let's take a look at what that looks like. So you see how this is kind of smooth around there, but now that is distinctly different. We got a hard edge going over there, whereas all these are smooth edge or soft edges. So let's look at another example here. Just a couple more examples. So let's take this pipe right here. Let's go to our UV shell. Let's grab that pipe and let's do a mesh tools. I'm sorry, mesh display. And let's soften that pipe. Soften those edges. And then we'll click somewhere else. And you can see that's the way that should look. Let's see, let's try back there. UV shells, let's grab that one and do a mesh display and we'll soften that. Then we'll take a look at it. See how nice and round that is. Now I've lost any real differentiation here. If I was wanting a sharp differentiation, I could just grab that edge down there. Let me show you. Go to, I'm sorry, grab that. Let me go to, let's go to edge mode. There it is. I'm going to use, oops, I'm in my UV layout still. Let's see here. Let me see. Let me do it this way. Grab that. I'll do it that way. Go to my edge mode here. There we go. I'm going to grab that edge. I didn't really want to grab them all, but yeah, I did not want to do it that way. There's only a few here. So I'll get all of these edges selected. And then let's go ahead and do a mesh display. And let's do a hardened edge on that. We'll click off of there so we can see this. Now you can see this is still nice and smooth up there, but you see the nice hard edge we have down there. And take a last example that I'm going to do, just to really kind of bring this home. Let's look at this tire down here, or wheel. It's really not a tire. I'm going to go to UV shell. I'm going to grab those right there, do a mesh display, and let's soften that. But notice how it's softened. I don't have a side edge. It's tried to soften the whole thing. So let's go ahead and let's do that piece right there. Do a mesh display, and let's harden that edge. And now let's see what we have. So we still have this kind of rounded there, a lot smoother than we had before. And now we have this nice sharp edge, and you can see the difference in smoothness of this one versus that one. And of course, this is low poly, so it's not going to be entirely smooth, but you get back from a distance. And the shadows I'm getting, well, that has to do with, I'll get rid of the shadow here. Let's go ahead and select that one and do a mesh display, and let's harden that. Select somewhere else. And now you can see that weird shadow I was getting is gone. And basically that had to do with Maya trying to figure out, well, how does the light kind of wrap around here? And you can see, I've got issue up here as well. And, we could fix that. So how would we fix that? Well, let's select this. Let's scroll out some. And with my UV shell, the one that's going to be causing the bottom is this bottom one, or problem is that bottom one. Do a mesh display. Let's harden that. Bang, there you go. And we'll come over here, we'll click off of there, and you can see how we're a nice round cylinder, the way it should look. The shadows are gone. So, really nice, just smooth, just, sharpen, soften edge. Really nice, easy to use. Let's go ahead and export this out. Make sure I'm in object mode, which I am. So I'm going to do a file, export selection. My same basic settings I always use with materials turned off. And I'm going to go ahead and call this smoothed mesh. And let's throw this guy out here on our desktop really quick. We'll export that. All right, that's done. Let's go into Photoshop. Into Quixel. We'll bring up Dedo. And let's do our mesh is going to be our smoothed mesh. Our normal is going to be inside my compressor. Inside Endo is going to be my normal map that I created. Let's see, where do I want to save this? Well, I've got a folder I put on my desktop just for this. I'll put in my smoothed folder. And then we'll go ahead and create this really quick and see how this looks in comparison to the one I had loaded up in 3Do at the beginning of this video. Should be just about done. Now we'll take a look at what we got. Okay, so let's see what we've got here. So I'm going to hit OK and bring up 3Do. And there we go. Much nicer. It looks smooth the way it should. Check out the difference in the wheels down here. See how nice that one looks in comparison to that chunky one? And now, like you can really look at this top part here, and you can definitely tell for a fact that up here, where we have this hardened up there versus this soft one, there's a distinct difference. You can also see as we zoom in here a little bit more, how this gauge looks. That gauge looks really nice now. This pipe looks really nice. That looks really nice. So, just need to get all these things smoothed out the way that we would want them. And then we should have a really nice looking low poly prop that we can use. All right, so that's the process that I was referencing throughout these videos, as far as I kept calling it smoothing groups, and I'm still calling it smoothing from my experience using Max. But really, we're talking about softening and hardening edges within Maya. Any questions, just let me know.